Welcome back to podcast Into the Paradox, everyone. I'm your host, Peter Kennedy, and today we're diving into a topic that's, well, it's hit very close to home for me recently. And honestly, it's something that I think many of us might dismiss as just a weird neighbour, until it escalates into something far more sinister. We're talking about neighbours with dark intentions, the kind that might actually be, dare I say, sociopathic. Joining me today to unpack this unsettling subject is Tom Crome, an esteemed occult specialist who also has a deep understanding of human psychology and the darker currents that can flow between people. Tom, thanks for being here.
Peter, it's a privilege, though I wish the circumstances weren't quite so personal for you. It's a fascinating, albeit disturbing, area to explore. I appreciate you bringing it to the forefront.
Fascinating is one word for it, terrifying is another, honestly. Look, I want to kick things off by sharing my own recent experience because it's what really opened my eyes to this potential danger. So, a few weeks ago, I had an old hi-fi system I wasn't using, and a new neighbour upstairs, someone I'd barely waved to, mentioned they could use one. Great, I thought, being neighbourly. It was early on a Saturday morning, so I carried it upstairs, quietly placed it by their front door, just leaning against the wall, figuring I'd text them to let them know it was there and they could grab it when they woke up without me disturbing them directly. Seemed like the polite thing to do, you know?
A very considerate gesture, Peter, especially with the early hour. That's the kind of interaction that usually builds community, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's what I thought. So I went about my day. Later that afternoon, I thought, I should probably check if they got it. Texted them. A couple of hours went by, no reply. Then another, still nothing. Finally, I decided to just pop upstairs to see if it was still there. And it wasn't. Now, this is where it gets weird. I text again, hey, just checking if you got the hi-fi, because it's not by your door anymore. A long pause, then a text back saying, what hi-fi? I don't know what you're talking about. My heart just sank, Tom. I was instantly confused, then irritated, then just a cold feeling started to creep in.
That's a classic gaslighting maneuver, Peter. Denying a clear reality, making you question your own memory or sanity. It's the first ripple in a very dark pond.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly how it felt. I mean, I know I put it there, and it disappeared. So either someone else took it, which is possible but unlikely in a building like ours, or, well, I tried to shake it off, but it bothered me. Then, the very next morning, I was about to leave for work. I walked out to my car, and as I approached the driver's side, my eyes just fixated. Right there, perfectly aligned with my back wheel, as if placed with deliberate intent, was a mummified squirrel, and next to it, a small, dark, unassuming container. It was just chilling. The sheer specificity of it, the placement, it wasn't random street kill, it was an offering, a statement, and that's when it hit me. I was being targeted.
Mummified squirrel in a container. Peter, that's not just disturbing, it's deeply symbolic and provocative. From an esoteric perspective, the mummified animal often signifies a preserved message, a form of binding, or a familiar of sorts. In the container, that's where the intent is often held. But even stripped of any occult meaning, it's a clear act of psychological warfare. It's designed to unnerve, to create fear and confusion, and to assert dominance without direct confrontation. It's a very calculated move.
Exactly. My first thought wasn't, a dead animal. It was, someone put this here for me. And the jump from the hi-fi incident to this felt connected, like an escalation. That's why I felt like I was dealing with a sociopath, someone who enjoys creating distress and doesn't care about others. Is this common, Tom? These kinds of acts, these escalating, veiled threats from a neighbour?
It's unfortunately more common than people realise, though the specific props might vary. What you're describing, Peter, is textbook covert aggression. A sociopath or someone with strong antisocial tendencies thrives on control and manipulation. They often test boundaries, starting with something relatively minor like denying receipt of a hi-fi, which on its own could be dismissed as a misunderstanding. But then they escalate. The mummified squirrel is a significant escalation. It's a non-verbal threat, a display of power, and an overt message that I can get close to your personal space, and I can leave things for you that will deeply disturb you. It creates a pervasive sense of unease knowing someone is operating in the shadows around your personal world.
And it works. I mean, it absolutely worked. Every time I leave the house now, I'm scanning. Every sound from upstairs, I'm analyzing. My sense of peace, my sense of security in my own home, it's just shattered. It's like living under a microscope, or feeling like I'm always being watched, waiting for the next message. And the worst part is, there's no direct confrontation, no argument I can point to, so how do you even address it?
That's the insidious nature of it. They want you to feel exactly that way. They want to live rent-free in your head. Direct confrontation is often what they seek, because it gives them an opportunity to play the victim, to deny, to deflect, and to gather more information about your weaknesses and reactions. They're excellent at manipulating situations to their advantage, making you look like the crazy one. It's a power dynamic. They want to feel powerful by making you feel vulnerable and controlled.
So what can we do, Tom? I mean, for me and for anyone listening who might be experiencing something similar, this feeling of being targeted by someone with dark intentions right in your own neighborhood. How do we protect ourselves, both practically and, given your background, perhaps from a more energetic or occult perspective, if that even applies here?
That's the million-dollar question, Peter. Let's start with the practical, because these incidents, while psychologically charged, have very real-world impacts. First, document everything. I mean absolutely everything. Dates, times, specific details, take photos or videos, the hi-fi incident, the squirrel, any unusual noises or movements, any changes in their behavior towards you or other neighbors. Keep a log. This isn't just for potential legal action, it's also for your own sanity, so you have a clear, undeniable record of events.
Right, I started doing that after the squirrel. It felt like something I needed to do, even if I didn't know why.
Excellent. Next, enhance your physical security. If you don't have a doorbell camera, get one. This provides undeniable proof of who approaches your door and when. Consider motion-activated cameras for your property, if applicable, especially if things are being left for you. Good locks, secure windows, basic common sense, but often overlooked until a situation like this arises.
I've been looking into that. A doorbell camera definitely seems like a priority now.
Crucial. Then, avoid direct engagement. This is incredibly difficult when you feel violated or threatened, but it's vital. A sociopath wants a reaction. They feed on your distress. Responding emotionally, getting angry, or trying to confront them directly will only validate their efforts and likely escalate the situation. Keep interactions minimal, polite but firm, and unemotional. If they try to engage in conversation, keep it brief, about the weather, and then disengage. Don't provide them with any personal information or insight into your feelings.
That's hard. There's a part of me that just wants to go up there and say, "What the hell are you doing?" But I can see how that would just give them what they want.
Precisely. It's like feeding a troll, but in real life. They're looking for an emotional payout. Don't give it to them. Next, inform trusted parties. This means trusted friends, family, and potentially other neighbors if you have any you trust implicitly. If you live in an apartment building, perhaps the building management. This isn't about gossiping, it's about creating a paper trail and making others aware so you're not isolated. And very importantly, know when to involve authorities. If there are any threats to your person, property damage, or continued clear harassment that crosses a legal line, you must involve the police. Your documentation will be invaluable then. Don't wait until it's too late.
That's a tough one. It feels like such a huge step to call the police on a neighbor over a missing hi-fi and a dead squirrel. It sounds crazy almost if I didn't explain the context. But the context is everything, isn't it?
Absolutely, the context is everything. And this is why the meticulous documentation is so critical. It paints the picture. It shows a pattern of escalating behavior. The police might initially dismiss a single incident, but a clear, documented pattern of harassment, especially with symbolic threats like the squirrel, takes on a different dimension. Your safety and peace of mind are paramount. Don't feel you have to justify your fear. It's a natural reaction to unnatural circumstances.
Okay, that makes sense. So practically document, secure, avoid engagement, inform, and know when to call the cops. What about the other side of things, the energetic or spiritual protection you mentioned? Because I honestly felt a sense of malevolence from that squirrel, even if it was just psychological. It felt dark.
That's a completely valid feeling, Peter. Whether or not there was any occult ritual involved in the placement of the squirrel, the intent behind it was undeniably malevolent. An intent carries energetic weight. Your emotional state, your sense of well-being, is very much influenced by these things. From a spiritual or energetic perspective, the first and most crucial step is to fortify your inner space. This means maintaining your own emotional and mental equilibrium. Sociopaths thrive on making you feel powerless and consumed by fear. If you can cultivate an inner resilience, a sense of calm strength, you deny them the very food they crave.
But how do you do that when you're constantly on edge?
It takes conscious effort, like building a muscle. Simple practices can make a huge difference. Mindfulness, meditation, even 5 minutes a day focusing on your breath, grounding yourself, envisioning a protective bubble of positive energy around yourself and your home. Affirmations like, "I am safe, my space is protected, I am in control of my reactions." These aren't just feel-good exercises, they actively shift your energetic state. The more you reinforce your inner strength, the less susceptible you become to external psychological attacks. Think of it as psychic armor.
Psychic armor. I like that. So it's about not letting their negativity or their intention penetrate my own well-being.
Exactly. You're creating a boundary, a spiritual firewall. Beyond that, consider cleansing your personal space. Again, this isn't necessarily about curses, but about clearing negative energy. This could be as simple as a thorough physical cleaning of your home, opening windows, letting in fresh air and sunlight. You could use smudging with sage or Palo Santo if that resonates with you to ritually clear the space, or simply use sound, clapping in corners, ringing a bell, to break up stagnant energy. The intention behind these acts is what matters. I am clearing this space of any unwanted or negative energy, and I am reclaiming my sanctuary.
That definitely resonates. I want my home to feel like my home again, not a battleground. And I can see how even the act of doing those things, of taking that control, would be empowering.
It is profoundly empowering. And finally, and this might sound a bit abstract, but practice non-attachment to their actions. This doesn't mean ignoring what's happening, but it means detaching your emotional well-being from their behavior. Realize that their actions are a reflection of their own internal pathology, not a reflection of you. You are not responsible for their behavior, and you don't have to carry the emotional burden of it. Send them, mentally, a return to sender message. Visualize their negative energy being unable to attach to you, simply bouncing off and returning to its source. It's about maintaining your energetic sovereignty.
Non-attachment. That's a deep one. It's tough because when you feel personally attacked, it feels very personal. But you're right, it's their issue, not mine. I just happen to be the target. So to recap some of this incredible advice, practically document everything, enhance security, avoid direct confrontation, inform trusted parties, and don't hesitate to involve authorities when appropriate. And from a more energetic standpoint, fortify your inner space through practices like meditation and affirmations, cleanse your physical space, and strive for non-attachment to their toxic actions. That's a lot to process, Tom, but it gives me a clear roadmap.
It is, Peter, and it's a journey. This isn't a quick fix. Dealing with a sociopathic individual, especially one who is a neighbour, requires vigilance, patience, and unwavering self-care. But by taking these steps, you reclaim your power, you draw clear boundaries, and you make it much harder for them to achieve their goal of controlling or distressing you. Remember, their power lies in your reaction. Deny them that, and you diminish their influence significantly.
Deny them the reaction. That's the core, isn't it? Tom, this has been incredibly insightful and honestly a huge help for me personally. It's one thing to feel like you're going crazy and another to understand the mechanisms at play. For anyone out there listening who might be in a similar situation, feeling that chilling sense of being targeted by someone with dark intentions right next door, I hope this conversation has given you some peace of mind and, more importantly, a plan of action. Thank you so much for shedding light on this dark paradox, Tom.
My pleasure, Peter. Stay safe, and remember, your inner strength is your greatest shield.
Absolutely. And that's all for this episode of Podcast Into the Paradox. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay strong, and protect your peace. We'll see you then.